Right, a very good afternoon and many thanks for joining us at this time. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. Vice President Kashim Shettima reiterates Nigeria's plans to build a vast digital market capable of absorbing cutting-edge innovations and technologies. Minister of Works David Umahi says a closed-circuit television and solar lights will be installed on the third mainland bridge by June. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) says all prices of meters under the Meter Asset Provider Scheme shall be determined through a competitive bidding process with effect from May the 1st, 2024. Details coming up shortly. Right, welcome back. I am Omo if a piece of Semera. Now let's begin with the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who said President Bola Tinubu was working to end the reign of economic saboteurs who have been hindering the progress of the nation. Shettima revealed this in a statement titled "Our Youth Will Transition Nigeria into Digital Economy a Powerhouse" through his Senior Special Assistant on Media and Communications, Stanley Nwokwocha. While representing Tinubu at the meeting of African heads of state and government on the 21st replenishment of the International Development Association held in Nairobi, Kenya, Shettima said Nigeria's aspirations had transcended merely birthing unicorns to become a global hub for outsourcing talent within the digital and creative economy. Reading the president's address titled "The Path to Recovery: Nigeria's Journey Beyond Sabotage," Shettima also reiterated Nigeria's plans to build a vast digital market capable of absorbing cutting-edge innovations and technologies. According to him, this would position the country as a hub for outsourcing talent in the digital and creative economy spheres. And now the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says President Bola Tinubu has approved the commencement of the design of the 1,000-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry Coastal Highway. Umahi reportedly revealed this during his inspection visits to the kilometer 47 axis of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project in Lagos, further noting that the coastal road would connect the southwest, south-south, northeast, northwest, and north central regions of Nigeria when completed. He also disclosed plans by the federal government to connect the 6 geopolitical zones in the country with a network of roads that would foster a more secure, safer, and sustainable transportation system. The minister noted that the need to realign the coastal highway around the axis of the Lekki Deep Seaport at the point of kilometer 47 by constructing a flyover bridge across the Dangote high-tech concrete pavement is to align with the economic values of the coastal highway. Meanwhile, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has said that closed-circuit television, CCTV, and solar lights will be installed on the third mainland bridge by June to check the activities of illegal miners in the infrastructure. Umahi said this after a routine inspection of the under-deck project at Ido Bridge, Qatar Bridge, and the third mainland bridge in Lagos. The minister said that the federal government had taken proactive measures to address the condition of the piles supporting the third mainland bridge, adding that erosion and illegal mining had damaged the piles and the consultant would be contacted on the repairs. Umahi noted that a major work was going to be looked at, hence a meeting with Julius Berger would ensue. Right, you're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, Chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Dr. Musa Aliyu, SAN, says the Commission has tracked over 219 billion naira constituency projects across 176 ministries, departments, and agencies in 5 years. Plus, the struggle to get fuel continues across the country, and the blame game seems to be taking assurance. Seems to be taking the center stage, coupled with assurances from the relevant stakeholders. Now, while there are speculations that the resurgence of queues at the filling stations could be as a result of an artificial scarcity, an economist joins news analysis to weigh the implication of this on the economy. Some say it's still on the path of a recovery. Of these and more after the break. Right, welcome back. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Let's now shift focus to the power sector, where the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has released an order on the deregulation of meter prices for meters deployed under the Meter Asset Provider Scheme. According to media reports, NERC said the prices of meters were deregulated after meter asset providers and other operators requested a further review of meter prices in consideration of the significant changes in foreign exchange and inflation rates since the last price review of the prices of meters in September 2023. The Commission said the significant changes in these macroeconomic variables had constrained the abilities of meter providers to supply meters at the approved regulated price. Consequently, with effect from May the 1st, 2024, all prices of meters under the Meter Asset Provider Scheme shall be determined through a competitive bidding process, with customers provided with a choice of authorized vendors. In the meantime, following a hike in electricity tariff, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has accused the federal government of working in the interest of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Falana, who stated this in an interview on national television, accused Western countries led by the United States of America of double standards. According to the senior advocate of Nigeria, they subsidize agriculture, energy, and fuel and offer grants and loans to indigent students, while they advise the Nigerian government against doing the same for its citizens. Falana's stance follows the announcement of an electricity tariff increase by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, which has since attracted public outrage. Falana maintained that neither the minister nor the National Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has justified the tariff increase. In other news now, the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC), Dr. Musa Aliyu, SAN, says the commission has tracked over 219 billion naira constituency projects across 176 ministries, departments, and agencies in 5 years. Aliyu, who disclosed this to newsmen at a media briefing held in Lagos, said the tracking exercise focused on critical sectors like education, agriculture, healthcare, and infrastructure, spanning 26 states and the Federal Capital Territory across the 6 geopolitical zones. According to him, this initiative would ensure government funds are directed towards impactful projects that benefit the most vulnerable Nigerians. He said, having conducted a thorough investigation on some infractions identified on funded projects, the ICPC had instituted cases against some suspects. Now, in what may appear to be a renewal of suffering for Nigerians, the traditional trend of fuel queues just made a return. While Nigerians groan over this trend, which is already impacting the lives of the masses negatively, it is not certain when it will end. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria (IPMAN) on its part said the petrol scarcity currently spreading to more states across the country will take at least 2 weeks to normalize. This comes as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) insisted that it has adequate stock of the product. However, the public relations officer of IPMAN, Chinedu Ukadike, said the product is not available in the country. as it has become a bit of a challenge to source the product because most refineries in Europe are undergoing turnaround maintenance. Okadike also blamed the acute shortage in supply on importation bottlenecks and the slow pace of marketers' license renewal by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. He disclosed that only 1,050 marketers out of 15,000 have had their licenses renewed by NMDPRA. As the blame game continues, an economist joins news analysis to weigh the implication of this scarcity on an economy some Nigerians say is still on the path of recovery. Adefolarin Olamilekon is the lead researcher at Politics and also an economist. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. A very good afternoon to all of you.
Right. I mean, the queues are back. I'm very sure that you've been monitoring, the trend. It's really very disturbing,
Seriously.
one would say, because as we talk, as we speak at the moment, this has, impacted, transportation costs. And we know, of course, that this is definitely going to translate to the prices of foodstuff and other essentials, at the market, just to further impoverish, the average Nigerian on the street. But the question now that one would want to ask is why this recurring decimal keeps surfacing almost every now and then, and specifically, what do you think probably triggered this particular resurgence of fuel queues across the country, especially at a time when inflationary pressure is high?
I think to start with, to first say that what has triggered it is nothing but the greed in the system, the absolute inefficiency in the system.
Okay.
All the excuses that both the NMPC are giving are excuses that most of us just look at them as, okay, these guys are not serious. One is that if my is saying that maintenance of refineries across Europe, how could that happen simultaneously in Germany, in Italy, in Belgium, in Turkey, all in Europe at the same time? All the refineries are going through maintenance activities. Then the NMPC on the other hand said they have enough stock. Definitely, that has been the major talk we normally bring at any time we have this kind of issue. But to go back to memory lane from 1998 is to understand that the system has always followed this trend, and these excuses they are giving has always become the same thing. Look at Ipman saying out of 15,000 members, only 1,000 of them are just getting
1,050.
1,050 are getting renewal of their license. What have they been waiting for over the years? That 15,000 out of 51,000, meaning that maybe out of that 15,000, only 10,000 that is even active. 5,000 may not be active. That has been said. But the key question and the key issue still remains that the system has always functioned this way because of the inefficiency by people who man that system. And the people who man that system are part and parcel of this Nigerian state. And the Nigerian state has always been inefficient when it comes to economic principles, economic policy that affect the poor. So
one would have expected that things would take a different dimension under the President Bola Tinubu-led administration. I've been taking a look at the truckload of promises that this administration has made to Nigerians. But at the end of the day, it's one would have to stand on the fence or sit on the fence. I beg your pardon, in terms of whether or not this is an artificial scarcity or indeed there are technicalities, surrounding this resurgence.
For me, I don't want to. I want to be so plain about it, and I want to be so simple about it. Something happened before what triggered the scarcity.
What could that be?
One, many of us recall that within the early month of April, there was this resurgence that diesel is now in Nigeria, refined and produced here in Nigeria, and Dangote refinery is churning out its product. How many of us think that those products were being taken by Ipman himself? Have you forgotten? They were they take their tankers there to take.
No, but we understand that marketers had already, started the process of buying.
They've started buying
all of that. Yeah.
And when they started buying, majority of their members ran into diesel buying, and majority of companies in Nigeria are already stockpiling diesel.
Okay.
So, and maybe many of us are not thinking in that line.
Despite the fact that the price has been,
come down to 900 or 950 or 988 or thereabout. Because it comes down from 1,002 to 1,001, then to 1,000, then to 950 or thereabout. Because the majority of members are now going for diesel. And you could also remember that immediately after the salary break, there was this excuse that majority of the tanker drivers went for salary break, so they are returning back. That was the first excuse. That
has been the tradition, actually.
Definitely. But what really happened was that I discovered, the organization discovered, a lot of those Ipman members went for diesel. with their tanker, they started taking out trucks to go and collect diesel
Diesel.
from Dangote, then start supplying to manufacturing company across the country. So now, what is happening? A lot of companies are storing diesel.
Oh, so they shift focus
Yeah,
from
they shift focus,
fuel
that
to
is-
diesel.
That is it. Now, the other excuses they are giving, that technicality in terms of refinery doing maintenance, nobody can take that, because we know that it cannot happen technically or on that maintenance level. But the core problem, the core issue is that there is a change in narrative around what tankers, what Ipman are going for. Diesel, they are going for diesel. So they are supplying diesel. They don't want to open up on that regard, but we have discovered that that's what is happening right now. Then the other aspect is the NNPC. NNPC filling station is they don't have much of the outlets, even though they are saying they want to have about 3,000 there, but they don't have much of that. But another thing that Nigerians are beginning to suspect, and most of us have seen, because in the past, this is the means whereby when government doesn't want to announce an increase, these guys use
In
this
pump price.
exactly in pump price. They use this technicality or whatever artificial they want to call it,
Yeah.
to now delay the supply. Then before you know it, there will be scarcity. Then before you know it, people begin to change their prices.
Maybe we should take off, the fears around, artificial scarcity.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, this seems to be a deliberate act,
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
It's not like we don't have the product or the
Mhm,
commodity in the
mhm,
country,
mhm,
because
mhm.
NNPC has come out to assure Nigerians
Yes,
that, look,
yes.
we have enough of this,
Mhm.
product that would even sustain the entire country,
Exactly.
for the next 30 days.
Mhm.
And then Ipman on its own part is coming out to say that there is no end in sight to this fuel scarcity,
Mm.
that is going to take 2 more weeks,
Mm.
for Nigerians to, come back
Mm.
to, getting access to fuel without stress and all of that. Earlier today, NNPC also came out to say that by tomorrow, which is
Mhm.
Wednesday,
Mhm.
everything will be back to
Definitely.
normal.
And I look at the contradiction in Ipman. Refineries are going to turnaround maintenance
Mm.
in Europe, and then you are now saying 2 weeks. How long does it take to bring a mother ship from Europe down to Nigeria?
But let me ask you, what is the latest update with regards to the Port Harcourt refinery? We've heard a lot
Exactly,
about the
exactly,
Port Harcourt
exactly.
refinery.
Mm.
Isn't all of this a slap
It's
to
just- mhm.
to the Nigerian government?
Definitely,
How
definitely.
do you? Why is it taking forever to
Mm.
refurbish these refineries and also to hit the ground running?
I think what is happening to the Port Harcourt refinery, one that has been under refurbishment, is that what is left, according to the government sources, that it's about to discharge. That is that discharging of the product himself that is left. That they have activated every other thing that is possible. But the problem is the discharge. That discharge means that they are about to allow tankers to go and pick the product, and that's what they are saying. But insiders are saying that not yet ready. The Port Harcourt refinery is not yet ready in terms of activating the equipment and the machinery to ensure that the equipment crack some of those crude oil that have been supplied. And if you also read the recent development from the same sector, saying that NMB is partnering with a particular local refinery to build a 1,000 capacity crude oil cracking refinery in Port Harcourt. So you can see the development that is coming. But the key thing that most Nigerians are holding on, the Port Harcourt refinery is not ready. So December deadline that National Assembly members said should be what most Nigerians are keeping abreast with. And that's what also I'm also keeping abreast with. But they can surprise us that before December, they can start supplying the product. But right now, it is that December deadline that National Assembly members talk with the Minister of Oil and Gas that most of us are holding on to.
This is a renewed hope administration we're
mhm.
actually operating. One would have to make reference to that almost
true,
every now
it's
and
true,
then,
it's
and
true.
that is perhaps an indication or a pointer to the fact that Nigerians have to, keep on being hopeful.
Very well.
Right, but at the end of the day, one would say that there is definitely going to be a limit as to how much people would have to
wait.
keep hoping
Exactly,
or waiting
exactly.
or being patient.
Mm.
Now, that's by the way. There are speculations. I don't know if you've heard anything, in that regards. That the reason, perhaps, as to why there's fuel scarcity, whether artificial or not,
Mhm.
is probably because the federal government is yet to dish out the subsidy money to the relevant stakeholders. But we understand that despite the fact that this government has been insisting that
Mhm.
subsidy regime
It's gone.
has been eliminated, there are also counter views
Mm.
that no, subsidy regime is still ongoing.
Mm.
The product is still being subsidized,
Mm.
and that's why Nigerians can still afford
Mm.
to buy it. So
Mm.
could that also be a reason that maybe the government is yet to fulfill its own part of the bargain, and that's why the product is being hoarded?
In that regard, if you listen to what the president said on Sunday in Riyadh at the World
Saudi
Economic
Arabia,
Forum,
yes.
Saudi Arabia, he said It's gone. He still reiterated that statement that the reason why he removed that subsidy was to ensure that Nigeria is not goes into bankruptcy. So he has sent a message to the people that we're trying to point out now. Now, who are those people that are saying that who are people that are sabotaging the element? We know there are sabotage elements in the oil and gas sector. But sabotage elements in the oil and gas sector are not far from the workers within that sector and players in that sector.
Okay.
But the challenge that the government is having is that it doesn't have the stick to wipe them into position. Reason being that with 4 refineries are comatose. How which government is the one refining those products? It will have more power against this individual, like the likes of Ipman and the rest of them. But what we're having is that these stakeholders are just finding a way to continue to, whether to put the government at the corner so that the government can be forced to pay certain amount of money. Because as I stand right now, there are over 60 individuals that are importing the PMS, and they're only importing on behalf of NNPC. If you are an Ipman and you go and import, or you have an agreement with anybody that's importing for you, government will not give you any dime or extra cost for you.
Okay. Now, you are an economist, and no doubt you have been keeping tabs on, the progression of events with regards to the economy and how Nigerians are actually lamenting, the unending hardship in the country. But we pray it comes to an end, pretty soon. But how gloomy are the days ahead for an average Nigerian who is perhaps yet to come, to terms with the controversial removal of petrol subsidy?
It keeps increasing. Increasing what? Increasing the cost of living. That is the simple fact about removal of subsidy, high tariff in electricity, the forex exchange, the floating, the liberalization. So all these 3 factors that you are talking about, they keep increasing and begin to make the poor to be poorer, and the purchasing power of every Nigerian begin to be going down. That's just the simple fact about it. We don't need to begin to bring up any technicality of economy, whether supply. No, there's nothing supply demand principle to explain anything. The thing is that cost of living is very, very high in Nigeria as a result of government policy. And you talk about the inflation issue. I've said it on this platform. When you talk about inflation, there are 3 key things that cause inflation. Government policy. And one of them is just what the government is doing. The other aspect is individual like me and you who owns business, who want to innovate their business because of our cost input into our business, also cause inflation. Then the global trend of price inflation of how the global business is also doing. Like this issue of price of fuel that we're talking about. The price of crude oil still remains stagnant for the past 3 months, $84 to $87 per barrel. It hasn't changed. So that's why I see that Ipman, they didn't have any excuse to say, okay, because of crude oil price. But they are giving excuses that we can quickly punch on 1 year. And how can you say 2 weeks time the thing will stabilize when we know that it takes 3 months for a mothership to bring fuel all the way from Belgium or from any of the European countries? Now you're saying 2 weeks before the discharge will take place. So what we are trying to say is that these guys have just created something to ensure that Nigerians suffer. That's why we have been saying all right since 2 days back on different platforms that they are just creating this problem so that Nigerians can suffer and they can earn. Go and check filling stations. Everybody is just jacking up price of fuel at the rate they think they can sell, including some government-owned filling stations like NIPCO. NIPCO is over 675 naira per liter.
Selling?
617. They are still maintaining their 617 as of today that I check out some of the outlets.
Now, it's less than a month away from his first year in office.
Exactly.
Why has it become difficult for the economy recovery measures of this administration to yield the desired results?
It's going to be very difficult.
This is just one of the economy recovery measure policy.
Exactly.
And see how far it has brought Nigerians.
Exactly.
We keep deliberating on this issue, and perhaps there is no end in sight as to when we're going to put a full stop on the issue of fuel subsidy, whether it is still in existence or it has been suspended.
The issue is that what Tinubu government wanted to do would have been done some 10, 15 years ago by removing the first sources. But because it was not allowed, many of us clicked against it because we discovered there was so corrupt practices within that sector. But he wants to do it headlong, and he has started it.
But in the essence, it appears Nigerians have, gotten over the fuel subsidy.
Definitely, they have gotten over. But the people who are benefiting from that particular regime, as they don't want it to go, and they still want it to come back, and they are using media to even play their propaganda across it. But the challenge that we have is that government cannot be able to do this in a way that people can be pleased, because a lot of sabotage are in the system, and that sabotage is what is causing the problem. After removing fuel subsidy, all we expect that the price is supposed to be fluctuating on market price and the rest of them. People who are importing is supposed to be importing the base of where they get the product from. But what we have, everybody will just come and slam price in a way that doesn't have that competitiveness. Because the target of NNPC when this fuel subsidy was what? market forces will determine the price.
Right.
It's only NNPC that is using its own market forces in fixing the price. Others are just going this way, going that way, and you see that it doesn't tally with what Nigerians want. But from what the government is saying, we just hope that they can get it right. But the sabotaging element within the system will never allow it to work, because every policy of government is either it gives some people benefit of in terms of what they are making in terms of money, or some people lose that, and a lot of Nigerians who are into that system are losing that. That's why they don't want the policy to succeed.
Okay. So by the time the Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery hit the ground running, how much do you think a litre of fuel will be sold for?
For me, it won't be more than 500 naira.
Really?
But
is
yes,
that fair? Not more than 500 naira?
More than 500 naira. You know why I say 500 naira? Because that 500 naira is a benchmark from the government angle.
Okay.
But what will make it go down more is when the crude oil price goes down. But if the price of crude oil doesn't go down, it will never go. But remember, Ipman and the rest of them may not want to buy from Nigerian government. They may still want to keep their license of importation. So that will also bring a competition whereby some filling stations, like if you go to some gas outlet now, you see some people selling 1,000 to one, some people selling 1,001. There are people who are getting their product from NNLG, and there are some people who are getting it from importers. You can see the difference.
Do you see an end in sight to this whole drama?
Definitely we should, but
NNPC is saying tomorrow, Ipman is saying we should look
I
at
would rather believe NNPC than believe Ipman, because these are businessmen who are thinking more business, how to make more money.
But it appears the forces trying to, sabotage the whole process. They seem to be very strong.
They will be strong because they are out of the government. They are the same people who send people into the government. They are people who sponsor people to go into government. There are people. Ipman is a very strong organization as you see them. But one thing I've just found about them, the contradiction in terms of excuses they are giving, is what is making many of us to say these guys are just joking. They are just lying to Nigerians. There's nothing like technical turnaround in any way. They are just trying to enforce that price increase on Nigerians by all means. But the question is that how come they didn't mention the price of crude oil that have remained stagnant between $84 to $87 per barrel in the last 1 month? Why they did not give that excuse? But that have been their excuses early January. But they are not going to that again. But they're not giving turnaround maintenance in Europe. How can all the European country maintenance refinery company be going to turnaround maintenance at the same time? Germany, Italy, Belgium. Belgium is one of the countries we normally import our PMS. So how come at the same time?
Right. Now, as it stands, the month of April obviously came with a lot. From the level of drama and controversy, they seem to be taking different dimensions as the day goes by. You take a look at the power sector. We're even yet, to recover from the drama going on in the power sector. Now Nigerians are calling for, the I don't know if it's even suspended. I don't know, suspension is not the right word, but they are saying that look at the minister, the honorable minister Adelabo Adebayo, he's not, up to the task. And here we are taking a look at the oil, sector and the many issues, within this sector. Now this month comes to an end today. Am I correct?
Very well.
By the time we enter the month of May, we'll start waiting patiently for NBS to release its report. But we do know, of course, that this whole development is going to perhaps have some sort of bite on the inflation rate that will be released early next month. But what are your expectations or projection like?
For me, there will be a slight increase in the inflation, maybe 34 or 35 or there, or 32, 33.10 or thereabout, depending on how they're able to put the calculation together. Although they are trying to put up NBS is trying to put up a new calculation methodology right now. They are working on it. But maybe with their new one, it will help us. But from what I'm expecting it should be slightly increased to 34 or 35. Okay. In terms of inflation.
So what does this portend for the economy?
Definitely the purchasing power of every Nigerian will be dropping. What 1,000 naira can give you cannot give you again by next month. Or what for 500 naira can give you cannot give you again by next month. That is the simple fact. I've been able to understand that when you are talking about Nigeria economy now, if you use too much of the economic technicality, most Nigerians will not want to listen to you that much, but just simplify it. And that's why what I'm trying to say, with inflation, what 1,000 will give you will not give you when it goes up. But when it comes down, 1,000 can give you more. So what it means is that your purchasing power will definitely increase, or it will drop when inflation is high.
All right. I need a very definite response from you. You have Ipman, you have NNPCL. Who exactly is responsible for this scarcity?
Both of them. And we must understand it. These are elitist gang.
Okay.
Elitist gang in Nigeria economy. They are both of them. Because Ipman is sorting out how to make more money as a business. NNPC is sorting out to make more money for government. At the same time, help his friends that are Ipman, because Ipman are friends of NNPC.
All right. At the end of the day, it looks like we have, I think crony will be the word,
Exactly.
right? Yes. But at the end of the day, our fingers are crossed. I think it would be okay for Nigerians to, share in the optimism of the NNPCL that, this fuel scarcity and all of this drama, would come to an end tomorrow, and not that of Ipman saying there's going to take 2 more weeks, because it means Nigerians will have to, go through, a lot more, which is really not the best, especially at this time. But an economist and lead researcher at Politics Analytics, Adefola Alamlekon, I must thank you so much for talking to us. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's it for news analysis today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you with a question as to who is responsible. Please do well to share your thought with us. Drop a comment and do not forget to subscribe to the channel and also like, this video. I am Omoife Peace of Semere. I'll be back at the top of the hour with the news update. Good afternoon.